I've already told you in the first video that we tested with some real newbies, and we found out that probably the technique with 2 circular needles seems to be the easiest one for beginners. So I'm going to show you how to knit a sock with 2 circular needles in our first video of our new sock series. I have 2 circular needles here with cables of about 50 centimeters. They have very soft cables and they are not very thin. And I will try to work with a number of stitches of 24 throughout the videos. I love the number 24 because it's divisible by 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 and 12. Love that. And when you start, you leave a trail of your thread about 4 times the length of the plant, or the circumference in this case, of the plant sock. So if you leave 40 to 50 centimeters, that's pretty enough. And this video just wants to show you the technique of knitting with 2 circular needles on a sock. So I'm just using a standard cast on technique. I will have few more videos about casting on in different ways. It's important when you cast on for getting an elastic edge that you leave a little space between the stitches. Don't knit them too tight. Leave a tiny little space in between the stitches. This will make a very elastic border. You cast on half of the stitches on one needle, so we are casting on 12 stitches on the first needle. And another 12 stitches on the second needle. So half of the stitches on each needle. Second needle here. And just continue with the next 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and always think on spacing of the stitches. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and cast on finished. Now turn the needle so that those little bumps of the wrong side are inside facing each other, and so that the starting thread is on the right side. You will start to knit those stitches on the front needle, so therefore you put them on the tip of the needle. And now it's important to bear in mind that you always knit with the same needle, with the end of the same needle where your stitches are on. So always use this needle where you have the next stitches on. And now you're just knitting 12 stitches, half of a round, and be careful not to knit the first stitch too tight. Because you always have to slide it over the needles, over the cable and the beginning of the needles, so if they are too tight, you will have problems. So half of the stitches, half around, is knitted now. Now you slide the stitches into the middle of the cable and turn the work so that the other needle is in front. Slide the stitches onto the tip of the needle and watch that those little bumps are inside, facing so you see this last stitch is very tight, so little difficult to slide it on the tip of the needle. Always, you knit always with the needle where the next stitches are on. So you knit the second half of the first round. And be careful not to oversee one of the stitches, but you may count them to be sure. There's one more left here, at least. No, another one. So I will going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Perfect. Okay, you turn again, you slide the stitches into the middle of the cable, you turn the work and just continue. For the first stitch of the second round, we use the working yarn and the starting thread, 2 strands for the first stitch of the second round. And that's how we fix the starting thread. So 2 threads for the first stitch, and in the next round don't forget that this is only 1 stitch. And continue just with the working thread. Another half of a round. And I'm just knitting here because there will be separate videos where I show you kinds of rib edging and varieties. So this is just for the technique with 2 circulars. And again, slip the stitches into the middle of the cable, turn the work. So you already can see that a tube is forming, and stitches to the tip of the needle. And continue knitting with the same needle. And don't make the first stitch too tight. A little fast forward now, just to show you the result. Here we are. So this was not too difficult. Next video I show you how to knit socks with 1 circular needle. Enjoy!